We're very excited to be here. It was a fun day. We had a great committee meeting. Very, very impressed with Dr. Bailey. I mean, he's one of the best in the country, and he's got experiences at all levels of sports and universities, and obviously knows what he wants to do and where he wants to go with things. And Chris King's done a tremendous job with this program. So those two guys are superstars, and Oliver and I will just be here to try to help out any way we can as we look forward to the future and feasibility study and the university grows and see where football fits.
I'll echo those remarks from Coach Brown. What fascinated me was how Dr. Bailey would like this decision regarding football to be a major part of the overall strategic vision for the university. There's lots of plans that are being worked on, have been worked on, and this is just one piece to the puzzle of creating what could be just an outstanding university in a part of the world that's growing very fast with lots of opportunity. The word growth may have been used 1,000 times today in our various conversations, but the group, Chris King and Dr. Bailey, have put together a first-class team. It's an honor for me to be involved, and I'm sure Mack would feel the same way. So we're excited to continue to help the university get to the right decision, whatever that decision may be.
Is there a model to be used for this? Has it been done before? And if so, where does this stand compared to some of the other early days of football programs taking birth?
Well, I think I'll say this, that Chris and his team will at some point very soon have a consultant on board. And that consultant, that team will do the bulk of the work in terms of looking at other universities and all various divisions and conferences and levels, all the issues that need to get sort of sorted out so that there's good information to make a good decision. And I'll defer on those substantive issues to Chris. He's the athletic director. He's running the show and running the show very well. But all of that, I think, it will come in due time.
And I was very impressed that Chris has done his homework. He knows the startup programs. He's going to hire a consulting group that has been involved in startup programs as well as programs at the highest level of sports. So these guys know what they're doing. They're organized, and they want it to be great for the university. With the growth, they want it to be great for the area. They want it to be great for the valley, and I don't think you'll see anything that's not first class coming out of them. So if they decide to move forward with football at some point, it'll be a first class program.
Mack, what piqued your interest?
Is there an approximate time that you guys, or timetable that you guys have put out?
I think the biggest thing is, again, the consulting group that'll come in with a feasibility study. They will meet with the group that Dr. Bailey and Chris put together. I agree with Oliver. I think he's got an all-star group. They're very, very successful people and people from throughout the university that get it and know what they want moving forward. And the good thing right now is it's in such early stages, they don't have to worry about, is it next year, is it 5 years, or is it at all? That's all ahead of the committee and the feasibility study to make sure they're doing it right.
What can a football team do for not only for the athletic program, but for the school in general?
Well, as a former athletic director, I can tell you that football is hugely important to numerous universities around the country. It's the most popular college sport. It brings alumni together. It serves often as a glue between disparate parts of a university. It enhances the academics. There are thousands of stories. In fact, Mack told one today about the increased interest in the University of Texas after the national championship season. And that's been, we've seen that at a number of schools. It's very attractive to young people. The high school kids, when they're thinking about where they want to go to school, very often they say we want to have that big-time football experience. So there's a whole list of issues as to why football could be very helpful to, and has been very helpful to a major university.
No, I know we're just in the early stages, but there are a lot of smaller schools that have had football programs, but yet the money revenue's not in. What does the school have to do in order to not only bring a successful football team, but also make money?
Well, I'll defer to Chris and ultimately to the consultants on in terms of some of the details. There's no question, though, that financial responsibility is going to be very important in this study. The group needs to look, and we will look at projected numbers and budgets and revenues around the country. The good news is that there have been a number of programs that have taken this step, and so I think there'll be plenty of data for us to make a solid decision.
And that's part of what has to happen. The community has to buy into the football program if they have it like they have the university to make it work.
Now, what do you guys have, you know, you mentioned something really important, bringing alumni together. What is the school or the program going to do, you know, the next few years to start bringing some of those alumni back to the RGV or current students?
Yeah, I'll defer to the university on that issue.
I think so too. Dr. Bailey's so impressive. And you look at his background with Texas Tech and Alabama, and even in some small universities he's been to, he gets it. And he knows what to do. So I think Oliver and I may learn some things being down here on this committee, and that's been fun for us. But I know in Austin there's not a pro football team, so I always felt like the Longhorns were kind of like the pro football team in Austin. In the Valley, there's not a pro football team. So I do think that it would be so much fun for the Valley if it does work and if it ties together, where everybody believes in it and moves forward and could have a first-class program.
Mac, what piqued your interest just about jumping on board as chairman of this committee?
Well, I love Admiral McCraven, and he asked me to chair the committee, and I've known and watched Dr. Bailey from afar, and he far exceeded my expectations when I got to spend some time with him at lunch today in our meeting. So, and like Oliver, we're in the kid business. So anytime there's a possible opportunity to add scholarships where kids might could stay closer to home and have a chance to get their education paid for because they're really good at a sport, I'm in.
What have you seen for the campus? You spent all day today. What do you see?
It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I was surprised. Never been here. Never been on campus. It's big. To think there's that many students was unbelievable for me. This baseball stadium is outstanding. It's just amazing to see what Chris and the university's done over the last 7 or so years. And obviously joining a conference, the WAC, and moving forward in that area, it's a fun time. And I reiterate what Oliver said too. We heard growth a lot. Growth of the community, growth of the university, growth of the academics. Huge gift yesterday, $15 million. So all of those things have momentum going forward.
What is the next step?
So this group will meet through the summer and the fall. We'll rely on Chris and his team to kind of put us together. I think the next step is really the consultants to come on board and to get their scope of work and to begin a lot of the legwork that we'll need, collecting the information that we will need, the committee will need to make a recommendation ultimately to Dr. Bailey. So I think it'll be a fairly busy summer, fall. I imagine that Mack and I will be down here a couple, 3 times as we go into into the early fall. So it's a fairly tight timeline, but I think the consultants that will be hired will be first class, and they should be able to pull all that information together pretty quickly.
Coach, I know it's still early stages, but as a former coach, you won a national title, I hate to say 09. What advice do you give Chris and his staff?
I don't think I need to give Chris any advice. He's been at Central Florida. He's been at Alabama. He gets it. He knows what he wants. He doesn't want a football program to be a detriment to the university or the other sports, which is really critical for people to understand. But he and Dr. Bailey are on the same page moving forward, and they're a really good team to look at what's best for this community and this university. And I think that's the fun thing for Oliver and I to be involved, because to see something so positive and the people in the room would light up when Oliver would talk about what football brings you, and we've both seen what it does, and especially a winning football program for a community to pull it together. And it not only pulls faculty and athletics together, it pulls community and university together. And nothing like a Saturday afternoon while you're tailgating with your buddies and getting ready for kickoff.
As a former coach, this question goes to the two of you. Have you guys ever done something like this or been part of a committee like this?
Well, in different contexts, I've been in situations where I've had to run startup franchises. I did it with NFL Europe years ago. I did it with the Dynamo in Houston. In fact, was the first Dynamo guy to come down here to work with the Toros and create that partnership with, in the field of soccer. So I've started new sports in West Virginia when I was athletic director there. So, starting things is great fun. It's a heck of a lot of work, but it's great fun because you can really, watch the development. It's like a kid. It's like having a baby and watching that child grow. So I've served on lots of committees. I know Mack has as well. He was probably one of the most involved head coaches of an FBS program and all these various committees, AFCA, National Football Foundation, NCAA, you name it, the alphabet soup, Mack.
That's why I got gray hair.
So, but I'll go back to the point that Mack said, you have a great team here, a great administration team led by Dr. Bailey and Chris King in athletics. And, I think they have a pretty good idea of this community, what opportunities may exist, where the challenges are. They're looking at this, I think, very realistically because they understand this community. So I think I feel very comfortable, along with Mack helping chair this committee, feel very comfortable they have their finger on the pulse of the community.
I just feel a lot better leaving than even coming, because we weren't really sure. We had some phone conversations and had some information sent back and forth. These guys are a great team. They've put together a tremendous team, and Oliver and I can just sit around and try to help with a few suggestions. But these guys know what they're doing.
For both of you guys, how did the first initial meeting go with the committee, and what was that like? What kind of things did you discuss?
I thought it was great. It was an hour and a half. It was an agenda that the university put together. Chris, Dr. Bailey, talked a lot about the university, the stage it's in. Dr. Bailey emphasized, and I know this is very important, that this is a part of the larger strategic plan, strategic vision of the community. There's some great community representatives in that room, including folks that who just made significant donations to the university. So I sensed a lot of momentum, not just for football, but for the university as a whole, and that's very important.
Well, and Dr. Bailey stressed that it's the right time to look at it. Doesn't mean we're going to have it, doesn't mean it'll be tomorrow, but it's an opportunity right now for everybody to get together and look at it. And Chris is a football guy, and he would love to have a great football team as long as it doesn't hurt the other sports on campus.
Let's talk about those other programs.